All right, we're live for another episode of Keeping It Real, the first one in 2017. And we have a great guest, Jason Simard from Vancouver Island, Nanaimo area. Anyway, so he was one of our guests last year, and we had him back on. Last year was his first year in the business. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my co-host. Frank with Vyral Marketing is my co-host. They do, yep, Frank and his team do videos, and you guys can market them to your database. That's what they do. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jeff Manson. I'm the founder of Real Geeks, but I'm also a Hawaii real estate broker and also California real estate broker as well. I've been in the business since '93, selling real estate and hustling, just like Jason here. So anyhow, let me set this up. Actually, Frank, let them know how they can get notified if they're first tuning this in, how they want to get notified.
Well, absolutely. Well, we're up on iTunes, so you can Google Real Geeks or iTunes, rather.
Keeping it real.
Keep it real, right? YouTube, they'll be up on the Real Geeks YouTube channel. We'll also post them on the Real Geeks Facebook. And also, if you go to keepingitreal.com, there's an email opt-in where you put your email in, and we will only notify you of shows, nothing else of when they become live, as well as replays. What's really nice is this goes, since we're on YouTube Live now, as opposed to Google Hangout, like this replay will literally be right here at this link when we're done. So that's pretty convenient.
Yeah, pretty nice. All right, great. So we had Jason last year on in April, and he got his license the end of 2015. And he's just an amazing young guy with a mindset that is just crazy strong. And he's going to go ahead and share his 12 principles that help guide him, that enables him to stay focused and not get paralyzed and all that. But first, we're going to go through a review of what he was doing last year when we had him on, his last year production, what he wound up with last year, the lead sources, what he's doing to generate business, all that stuff you guys want to hear about. But then we're going to dive into how he's able to accomplish all that. So last April, we had him on, I think it was April, and he had 26 deals in his first 90 days, and his goal was to sell 90 homes as a brand new agent. And we got on here, we're talking, and I said, Jason, your goal's too low, because I can tell that I think you're going to crush it. So I kind of called him out publicly, and he's ended up stepping it up. And last year he sold or put 135 sides into escrow and sold the properties, and 100 of those were himself, and I think one of the other 30 or 35 were from one of his buyers partners on the team. Anyway, so Jason, welcome aboard, man. You're crushing it. We're glad and excited to have you back.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back with after you setting that goal so freaking high on me. I was nervous if I'd ever be able to come back onto the show. So I'm glad that we exceeded the goal, though. Jeff, thank you for pushing me beyond my comfort zone at the time that I had set for myself. And it was a good lesson to not, sell yourself short, set your goals ridiculously high, and just give it your all. And it's amazing what it did to my mindset. I literally had my foot on the gas pedal all year, and I didn't let up. And it's because I knew, hey, people are going to be asking, they're going to be checking in, like, how did you do? So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, publicly to come on here and declare what you've been doing too, and saying, hey, I got even the goal of 90s, like, oh, is this guy full of BS? I've even had on our invite, like, is this legit? Is this real? There's no way a new agent can do that. And they have a bad mindset, right? I mean, they have a negative mindset, and something is holding them back from believing that. But I want to dive in. So you did how many deals? 100, and then for you.
Yeah, so it's about 100 ends for me. And Jacky, who is basically an agent on my team, he's my business partner. He's got his license in July, and he's done the rest of those. So between 35. So between the two of us now, keep in mind, some of those we closed last year, but we're going to be paid out January, February, and March coming up. So 135 is basically what we put together last year. And we call their ends. So, we haven't been paid out on all 135 of them, but we certainly been paid out on
an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, some of them you've doubled in, which is even nicer, right, to do that. And Jacky's contributing. And Jacky's only been in the business for 6 months as well. Yeah. So you must have trained him with the same mindset for him to be able to do that.
Well, I've known him my whole life. So him and I used to compete as kids at everything. He's a year and a half older than me, so he was always a little bit bigger, and so it taught me to be a grindy, feisty guy. And you know, him and I have always competed, so we've kind of found a great business for somebody that's competitive, because you can constantly be challenging yourself, and there's so many great people doing very well in this business that you can kind of use as new benchmarks.
Sure.
And he has a similar mindset to me. You know, he's focused on doing the right thing for clients every time, doesn't cut corners, and he's not afraid to put in the work. And you know, with the training program and systems that we've sort of developed and created together, him and I, it's a pretty fun time for us. We love what we do every day, and sometimes I pinch myself that this is how I get to earn my living.
So Jason, what you wrote was really cool on the Real Geeks forum, and what we're going to be getting into today.
We're not going to get into that yet, though, Frank.
Well, yeah, but down the road we have these 12 principles.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Right?
All right. I just want to make sure we're not grinding through that yet.
No, not yet. We're going to get to that. But I think what people want to know is very briefly, like your random story of like just from a lead generation standpoint and just from the things that you implemented. Can we start going through the list of like what you implemented and what you chose? Maybe get a little more insight to your market in Canada so the viewers can understand the price point and nuances of it.
Sure.
So just how in the world you did 135 so quickly?
Sure.
Let's
so
talk about that.
Okay. Well, so the number one thing is I knew coming into this, because I did spend some time researching the industry before I jumped in, is that I knew that you need a consistent lead source. So right from day one, I invested heavily into a lead source. I got a website, I was doing Google AdWords immediately out of the gate, and I set a $30 a day budget on that. And that was my thing that I needed. I needed a consistent, predictable lead source that I could work. The next thing is I needed to just set a huge amount of action behind that. So what I did to start the business is I actually borrowed $53,000 from my brother-in-law. And, you know, to be honest, I was flat broke before I started the company. I basically went all in. My brother-in-law believed in my business plan I created. I went all in, and I borrowed $53,000 from him. I paid him back in 4 months. And I, you know, just recently paid him back a nice big chunk of interest on that as a thank you, and you know, was grateful. But I literally put a gun to my own head in the sense that I just went all in. I set out my business plan. I knew that I was building a company. I didn't want to be just a realtor. I wanted to build a company. So I got a team name right from the beginning. I incorporated right from the beginning. My mindset was I was building something big, and I was building a company right from the get-go. And I just invested in the things that made sense. I didn't get too focused on having 10 different things that I did. I focused on like 2 or 3, and I try to become a master at those 3 things. And so that's something we'll probably get on in the call later. But that was the biggest thing, is just I set a high goal. I had a business plan laid out, and I literally went all in. And I'm grateful that I had somebody that believed in me, that was willing to make that investment. And I didn't take that lightly. And I've been fortunate that I've been able to do everything cash within my company. I've reinvested back into it quite heavily. And I've invested in people. That's something that people forget. Great people will help you get somewhere much faster than if you get the wrong people.
So you invested in pay-per-click, buyer leads, buy some seller leads. What else? Give us some more things that you spent that $53,000 on.
Well, there's the website. There was, you know, marketing. There's branding. But the biggest thing was the lead generation for me. So Google AdWords was a big one. I put a lot of my budget on that. There's a lot of fees when you start off, you know, in the real estate world that you need to do. There's a lot of expenses that you have to incur. There's monthly desk fees. I joined the top brokerage in my market, which is certainly not the cheapest in the market, but I knew that's where the top agents were. So if I wanted to be a top agent, I needed to be there. And yeah, those were sort of my main expenses, was just like lead generation. I can't make money.
Yeah. So Jason, so you're doing online leads. What are your 3 top sources, and then how's the breakdown? So I know a lot of it's from the lead gen. How many transactions, or what percentage of the leads from the Real Geeks website was last year?
It's about 61 deals last year. Actually, probably more like 72, because there's a bunch of that 135 that I didn't.
So about 60%. About 60%.
At least 60%.
65%. Let's call it 65% from online lead gen and coming through. So now, where did the other percentage come through?
Referrals.
So referrals, and then how many approximately or percentage with that?
Well, if I add up all my different referral sources, because I have a few different referral sources, I'd say probably close to 40. 40 at least. Yeah.
40 deals.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So we're right about, so basically those are your two main sources.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have some amazing key partners. So one of the things when you have a really good lead generation system is you get a lot of opportunities that you can refer off to your key partners, like your mortgage specialist. So I have some amazing key partners that I work with. We actually have one of them whose office is in our team office. So I've started, we moved outside of our brokerage. We outgrew our space that was available to us. So we started our own our little real estate team office, and we actually have a mortgage broker right in the office. So if we have a client that comes in, we can do a pre-approval right on the spot. That's pretty neat.
Okay, so you said your referrals so basically that's the remainder is referrals, right?
Mostly referrals. I mean, there's your sign calls, and there's
Sure.
social media and different things that are going to contribute to that. I mean, I kind of lump things into three categories. I call it social media, referrals, and then internet leads, and those are kind of the three sources. So that I focus on. Those are the three areas that I focus on. I don't spend any money on anything but those three areas. So social media, internet, and then investing in referrals. Okay.
And then referrals, you said that you have many. So it's, can you dive in a little bit deeper? What type, I mean, are they referrals from other agents, referrals from mortgage partners, title people? I mean, can you name like the 5 top sources and kind of how you did that?
Sure, for sure. So like number one source is going to be our mortgage key partners. So we've got 3 awesome key partners that we refer to consistently, that we have a high level of trust with, who refer back to us. So that's huge. We've got friends and family, obviously letting them know that we're in the business, what we do, and the high level of service that we create. We're starting to get quite a few from social media. We've done a lot of big things in social media to sort of get our presence known out there. And that's been a really good one. Past clients have become a good referral source for us. We try and leverage every opportunity that we can. And, we try to create an advocate from every person that we work with. So that we have those referrals.
All right. And then the friends and family and past clients, what are you doing to work them?
So we have follow-up systems. So we have, we do stuff. I don't know if you've heard of send out cards, but I'm a big fan of send out cards because you can automate your list of cards that you want to send. They're personalized cards that'll get sent to your database automatically. We do 4 cards a year. We do a birthday card so people can they'll get brownies on their birthday. We do a Valentine's Day card. We do an anniversary card for past clients on the anniversary of their home purchase.
And then the lenders are referring you there. Now, social media, what are you doing on social media? And what platforms? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. I'd say Facebook's our main platform. We've done a new project this year called Sims in the City. So my team name is Sims Real Estate Group. So we've created something called Sims in the City. And what we're doing is I've paid professional videographers to go in and highlight areas in our market and do it in a way that's going to get people excited about those areas so we can really showcase the beauty of the community that we live in. We did something called the 12 Days of Simsmas during Christmas, where we basically featured local businesses that we were super passionate about. And that was really well received. And what we did is I paid for all the video production. We boosted it on Facebook. And then we created a contest where people had to share the video, and then let us know that they did it. And we had over 80,000 views of those videos during that 12-day campaign altogether. We had thousands of shares. We doubled our social media page presence, and we gave away almost 60 prizes locally to people, really nice prizes, like a big screen TV, a trip to Vegas. We did some really neat stuff. So we just consistently send out valuable videos, one featuring the community, and then we do our helpful tips videos as well.
So what's your target audience? I know Canada has a little bit more strict or not as granular rules in Facebook, but what kind of audience were you targeting?
I basically try to focus on people over, say, 25 years of age. I kind of try and target that area, people locally in our community. We just want to be known. If you're thinking real estate, we want to get mind share. And so there's different ways you can do that. You can do the traditional bus benches, billboards, mailers, which is already done and has been done. And there's a few local players in our market that dominate that area. So for me, that didn't make sense. What made sense was to go where I felt nobody really had a strong presence and try to do it really well and try to become one of the more dominant presences. And of course, when people are thinking real estate, they go to the internet now, right? I mean, if you're looking for a home, you're looking for a recommendation, you're either going to go to a friend or you're going to go to the internet. So for us, it made sense to put all our focus in those areas. And so our whole business has been created off the internet. And we believe that that's the way it's going to be forever. I mean, I can't see the internet changing anytime soon. I can't see people not using it. And I think, this little device here is really where it's at, because everybody has a computer in their pocket. And so we're really trying to put our business around this, making it easy for people to know who we are, connect with us with this.
Yeah, that's the importance of having a mobile-friendly site and platform.
100%. And put out good content. Try to get yourself known as like an expert in your market, which I believe we are. We do a really good job. We really don't cut corners. And every time we work with a client, we're working towards creating an advocate. So we've got lots of great reviews and feedback that we've been able to get this last year from our clients. And we're not perfect, but man, we've become much better realtors now than we were when we first started, and we're always constantly trying to do a phenomenal job. So that's our focus.
So people are probably listening to this and thinking, oh, he's just marketing. He's not, he's just spending money and hopes that people call it. You guys are actually calling the leads, correct? Sure. And what percent of your business was sellers versus buyers?
Probably 25 to 30% sellers.
So 25, 30% sellers. Yeah. And what are you doing to increase your sellers or your listings?
So we're focusing a lot on investing in internet leads that are seller focused. So we want to generate internet leads that are seller focused and get face to face. So I'm trying to transition to where I'm focused more on the listing side. I of course still have a passion for the buyer side, and we don't have enough listings for me to not do that full time. But my goal is to eventually become much more listing focused on the team. So I've made an investment in lead generation, internet leads. We use a company called Prime Seller Leads, and that's been working well for us. And then the property valuation tool that Real Geeks has also been a good tool for us to get some listings. And then of course, through our social media efforts and, asking for referrals and business and people starting to get to know us and know who we are, our phone's starting to ring too. We're starting to get opportunities that, we wouldn't have had we not made ourselves exposed to the market.
And those seller leads, you guys are researching them if they're address only, and you're making every attempt to phone and call them, correct?
Yeah, so it's a work in progress. So when we get a full piece of information, we're on it right away. That's one thing we pride ourselves in. Our follow-up is very timely. We'll text, we'll call, we'll email. We're always looking to provide value and come at it from that approach. If we get partial leads, I'm working on some strategies now of what we can do to implement so we can start converting some of those, because we have hundreds of partial leads, people that, have kind of put up their hand, but not quite. And we want to figure out a strategy to do that. So I have some ideas and something that, Jeff, you and I can talk about some other time, but I'd love to pick your brain on that.
I got some things we're working on that I think you're going to like. So we'll talk about that next week.
Sweet. Sounds awesome.
And then we'll share it with everyone else once we get it going.
Absolutely.
All right, great. So you're doing that. And
Jason, I got a question for you. I'm managing the comments, by the way. So if you see me commenting, it's me answering some questions. People are actually interested. The background you mentioned earlier is really cool. It has all your deals on it, right?
Yeah.
How'd you make those boards? How'd you make those boards? How'd you get those lines so straight? Something like that.
Actually, one of my buddies who's an awesome agent in another market, he had these listing boards, and he's just shared with me. So I've shared some of the things that we do that might be different, and he's done the same with his business. So collaboration is actually an important thing. If you're not collaborating, start doing it. Stop trying to, How did
you create them? Did you buy them?
There's a company that we paid to do it. I think both those boards cost me, I don't know, $600 or $700, but it was a good, worthwhile investment, because we have our deals board on right behind me there, and then we have our listings board, so we can keep track of our listings, and then we can keep track of our deals and when they're closing. So it's great, because I have a visual. I know where my business is at. Every time I walk in the office, I know exactly where things are at, and my assistant, who's amazing, will make sure that it's updated for me regularly, because she just knows. I don't even have to ask anymore.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah. So what I would like to do is jump into and go over those 12 principles. And actually, Jason was in our private Real Geeks Facebook mastermind group. and he posted this amazing post, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be sharing this. Everybody in our group, Martin, and all these top producing agents in our group are like, you nailed it, nailed it, right on, perfect. So Frank, can you go ahead and read the first of that from that? I mean, you got it printed from the group.
This is something I just want to say of why you're successful, Jason. I mean, you could watch all these Keep It Real events, and you're going to get a bunch of tactics that come from different ways. But hopefully, through watching the Keep It Real events or any of these, as you start picking up some of the key principles and the key ways of looking and making business decisions that are consistent for you, that guide you. And this is like the core values that guide all your decisions, which is like so important. And I'm so excited to share this because we haven't done this before with like some key rules that you followed that have guided your decision making to scale up so quickly with taking all that risk of your brother's money, right? So it's great. So I think it's great that we share these. So let's go through them in order. Number one.
No. Hold. Read what he posted though.
Okay.
The paragraph above it, just to set it up. Because he actually, this was a post in the group, and we're actually sharing it publicly now.
I apologize. I get a lot of people that contact me or message me about Real Geeks, etc., and I'm always happy to help when I can. Most people are super smart, almost too smart, and they suffer from a syndrome called paralysis analysis. You're not a research and development company. Spending hours upon hours and overthinking, overcomplicating this whole game will set you back in a big way. You're a realtor and business owner. Here's what you must have to succeed, in my opinion. And he listed 1 through 12.
12, yeah.
So number 1, are we ready?
Yeah, and we're gonna let him share about what his mindset
and the reason why.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we're gonna let Frank read them because Frank's got a nice voice.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Are you ready? Let's take notes. Number 1, leads, and a steady and consistent flow of them. Why is that number 1? Let's go into deeper why that guides you so much.
Well, if you research the best realtors in the industry, there's a common link that they all have, and they all have consistent lead sources, consistent, predictable lead sources. If you don't have a consistent and predictable lead source, how can you build a consistent and predictable business? So for me, that made sense. I mean, if I don't have people to talk to that are somewhat qualified prospects that are either engaged in the process of looking for a home, thinking of looking for a home, or looking to sell, how am I going to grow my business? Who do I know to talk to? Well, I'd rather not have to pick up the phone book. Certainly, you can do the whole expireds and FSBOs, and that is a lead source. So that
I was going to say that is a lead source. So
that is a lead source. However, for me, I want more leads. I'm all about leads. My job as the team leader is to provide a consistent, steady flow of leads to my team so that they can succeed. Because I don't know enough people to hit the goals that I have and to be able to provide rock star futures for these guys. So leads are everything. Make sure you're investing and not cutting corners there. And that will be a big key to your success. If you can at least get that first thing down, that'll help.
All right, hit the second one, Frank.
You need great follow-up systems, CRM, database management, scripts, etc.
Yeah. If you don't have a great place where you can keep all the information, keep notes, make sure that you have a place as well that, you have to know what you're following up with. You have to know what you talked to. If I talked to you 6 months ago and I didn't keep any notes, well, how am I going to know to call you back? How am I going to know to follow up with you if I haven't done any of that? So get a great CRM system. We have Real Geeks, which we use on the back end. And then we use Top Producer once they become a client. We use Top Producer. Those are our 2 follow-up systems that we use. That's critical. And then scripts, like use some stuff, try things. There's a lot of free information out there. Let people skim their knees and learn from it. And that's the other thing. Like you can't perfect everything. If you're constantly trying to do it perfect, you're just not going to do anything. So for me, that's number 1. So practice, scripts are important, but allow people to try some things. The theme at the end of the day is you're trying to build trust. You're trying to understand people's needs. And if you can get really good at those things, you'll be able to convert those leads that you're getting at a higher percentage. So, and then have a nice place where it's all nice and organized so that you know what's going on.
Great. Number 3, sales skills. Become a master here or hire someone who is.
So I've actually studied some really brilliant realtors who aren't great salespeople, believe that or not, but they're great business people and they know how to hire the right people in the right roles. So if you identify yourself as one of those people that maybe likes to be behind the keyboard a little bit more, is really good at lead generation and systems, but isn't really good at sales, that's okay. You need to find people like myself who that is a strength. that's what I'm really, really good at. And the people that I've put in those types of roles are really good at that. So that's going to be a key to your success. Now, on the flip side, there's people that are really good salespeople, but not really good business owners. So again, try and surround yourself with people that'll balance you out.
Okay.
Awesome.
Number 4, unless you have anything to add, Jeff, just let me know. Number 4 is, this is a good one. So the 3 are kind of, we get that, but they're very important. We've been told that. Number 4 is not something most people get. High emotional intelligence. Be a specialist, not a jack of all trades. Don't try to be great at things you're not. Always spend the majority of your time working from your strengths. Tell us about that.
So for me, I know what I'm good at, and I'm fortunate I've known that from a young age. So I've built my business around me spending 90+% of my time in my strengths. It makes no sense for me to go and spend all my time trying to do things and get better at things that I know I'm not good at. I know that I'm a great communicator. I know that I can be a good leader. I know I'm great when it comes to negotiation. So I put myself in those positions. On the flip side, I know that I could never build a website. I have no intentions of building a website. I know that I wouldn't be good at running my own Google AdWords campaigns. And even if I got good at those things, the amount that I will get paid or what will come back to me is just not worth it as far as if I put my time and focus on the areas that I'm strong at, which is going to be real estate. So that's basically, it's important to know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and just accept that, and then put all your focus on what you're good at, and then find people that balance you out in the other areas. Because it's very hard to find somebody that's great at everything.
I would agree 100% on that. And that is where self-awareness comes in. And Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you follow him, but I do.
That guy.
Because you just kind of preached what he preaches, but you got to be self-aware to be able to figure that out. And you got to be willing to like ask people around you and accept and listen to them. And then identify what you're strong at, work on that, and the things you're not strong on, delegate that to somebody else.
100%. I see too many people that try to do everything themselves.
What are you not strong at, Jason?
Administration is not my thing. Like, I'm not a detail-minded person. I'm the visionary. I'm the big picture guy. I'm a great communicator. But for me to sit there and do paperwork and filing and systemization, that's just not me. It's not who I am. And it's been the feedback that I've gotten for my whole career when I was in banking is, you're so great with clients, you're so good at the business building, but this is an area of an opportunity for you. And so I've just been smart enough to know that, and then I just hire great people like Paige, my administrative assistant. She is phenomenal at those areas, and then wouldn't be good when it comes to the sales and marketing. So that's what I'm strong at. So it's perfect. Which
leads us into number 5. So number 5, you talked about leverage. Hire great people who balance your business.
100%.
Hire on personality and attitude and fit more than experience or fancy degrees. Both is a bonus. Don't waste time on tasks you'd have someone else do for $20 per hour or less. Focus on making $100 per hour as an agent.
Yeah. So this is something, Jeff, you see this on the Facebook groups all the time. People ask, oh, how do I run my own campaigns? How do I do this? How do I do that? And then I'm always sitting back thinking, well, you're in real estate. Do you realize you can make $100 an hour, $200 an hour if you focused on the sales activities that as a realtor will make you that kind of money? So if you thought about all the time that you spent doing those tasks that you could hire somebody very credible to do for $20 or less, you would actually make a lot more money, because it would free up your time, because you only get a certain amount of time in a day. And if your time's wasted doing things that aren't going to make you the kind of money that you can if you're doing sales activities like a realtor can, for me, it just makes sense. So leverage. Our job, Jacky and I, is to go on the appointments and then take it from there. We do a great job getting people into the right homes, negotiating contracts, and just getting trust that way. So again, you build your team and leverage around what you're looking for. So for us, the reason we're able to do the volumes that we do is because we have the specialists. There's no way I could sustain what we've done if it was just me and if I didn't leverage.
Yeah, and I agree. And some people, when they're first starting out or have hit some tough times, I get it. You can't afford to pay somebody to do your marketing or PPC. So go ahead and learn it, do it, get some business. But as soon as you start getting that momentum going, delegate that off. Take that off your plate. You're better off paying somebody so you can then get yourself out of that non-producing activity. It's producing leads, but those leads, if you're following up with, is $100,000, $2,000 an hour activities versus paying somebody to do that at $15 an hour. I mean, don't be wise and do that. I get why some agents need to do it, but the problem is they get some momentum going and that's the time to actually get out of that activity. Instead, they're just so worried that, and then they get busy going back. They can't grow.
Right. Because there's sometimes they get in their own way and they'll just start overanalyzing the whole situation. And so instead of buying toys and stuff like that, new boats and all that, I just invest back in my company because I'm trying to build a company, not just be a realtor for life. So
yeah. And don't step over $100 bills to pick up a couple pennies. I hate to say that, but my grandfather used to tell me that. Yeah.
Well, it's like the FSBO mentality, right? Oh, I'm going to save commission, but in the end, the home doesn't get exposed to the market the right way. And we all know that they're not going to make as much money selling it privately as that they would if they hired a high performing agent. So to me, I look at it the same thing, right? If you focus on the pennies, you lose out on the dollars. And I tell my staff that too. I say, guys, or my team, they're all business partners. They're not staff, they're business partners.
Sure.
Don't get caught up on the pennies. Always focus on the dollars. What's the long-term objective? Don't do anything that's short-term. Think long-term.
I agree. Move on.
Number 6, commit 110%. Be all in and take insane levels of action. Insane. Insane. Don't allow doubt and fear to take over. Acknowledge those things and push through them at all costs. I like to hear some stories about how you dealt with that doubt and fear.
Well, hey, look, I'm a human being. I have that voice in the back of my head sometimes that says, "What are you doing? This is crazy. You're not supposed to be doing this at this quickly in the game." And you start listening to that. But I always just have said, tune it out. Keep putting it to the task. Do those things that make you scared. And take that risk. If you don't take the risk, you're not going to get the reward. So if your goal is to build a company that's going to be able to provide a great lifestyle for the people within it, you have to be able to take the risk. And that's what I've done from the beginning. I just reinvested back and kept reinvesting back. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to be growth focused and not so worried about just the pennies like Jeff talks about. I'm going to be focused on growth. And I get you need to be smart with your money. So that's why I don't just spend my money everywhere. I have key areas that I put the focus on, but I'm not afraid to spend. I'm not afraid to spend money and invest in great people. And I know that that's going to sometimes come back to burn me, and I'm not going to make the best hire, but in the end, I'll develop the culture that I want within my company because I'm investing in people and they feel that and see that. So and be willing to work your butt off. I worked really, really hard last year. I didn't take a lot of time off and I was just go, go, go. But I knew that in the end, balance is something that I'm doing this for, but I need to get this company off the ground. So if you're taking vacations in your first 6 months as a realtor, I think you should rethink that because you're just getting going. You're starting to build some momentum. Balance is something that you should all strive for, but don't be afraid to be unbalanced for a while until you can get the right people and the right systems in place. So that was my mindset. I'm okay with being unbalanced. And I'm starting to become a little bit more balanced because I have great systems now and great people that allow me to do that. And it's something that I've built in the culture within the company. So that's what we're for.
And I think you're when you say take risk, it's not reckless risk, it's calculated risk, and mainly get out of your comfort zone. Because for most people, just getting out of their comfort zone and trying something new, that's taking a risk to them. And I think that's what you're saying. Is don't let anything get in your way. Just go for it. Don't worry about it.
You've been to a Tony Robbins conference, Jason?
No, I haven't.
This is everything he talks about. Date with Destiny. I went down to UPW. If you have a chance to go to those, they're fantastic. Let's move on. Number 7, have a plan, but don't overcomplicate it. Focus more on day-to-day activities versus the end result, or versus the end result.
Yeah. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you're not going to talk about I want to lose 20 pounds every day. Every day you're going to focus on what you've eaten and the exercise that you put in. And you're going to do that consistently day in and day out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see progress over a period of time. But it's the activities that you did day in and day out that got you the result. So it's good to sort of set a goal, but then you have to put the activities day in and day out to get there. So that's basically what I mean by that. And I think, a lot of people spend hours and hours building business plans. But at the end of the day, simplify that business plan to what am I going to do every day? What activities am I going to do? Am I making 10 new contacts today? okay, well, if that's my goal, then I'm going to do 10 contacts per day. And that's what I'm going to measure, not the outcome, but the activity. Because if you're talking to 10 new contacts every day, new prospects, guaranteed your business will blow up if you consistently did that over a period of time. It's impossible for your business not to blow up if you're doing that consistently. Does that make sense? And that's just an example.
Yeah, keyword consistency.
When you started, Jason, give me an idea of like how many hours a day you'd put in like work. I mean, I'm assuming it's just all the time at this point. But
yeah, it was like 12, 15-hour days, and I would just go and, you know, I got on the phones and I prospected immediately, and that's basically what I did. I had a headset on and I was walking around the office and I was constantly on the phones, and I would send out videos. I would do whatever it took. You know, my goal was to get more appointments.
That's great.
I really like the next one.
Great.
Number 8.
8, serve others always. Focus on making others feel good after they deal with you. Build bridges with everyone. Be collaborative with others. Always be genuine and don't take shortcuts. Now that sounds like not much on the surface, but there's a lot of depth there when you get stressed out building a business. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, there's people that get commission breath, right? Like, oh, I got to get a deal, got a deal. And they're not thinking about the best interest of the person in front of them. They're thinking about themselves. And you should never, ever, ever do that. I've talked lots of people out of homes that they shouldn't buy because I knew it wasn't the right thing for them. I've taught that to Jacky as well. He's talked many people out of buying homes that just didn't make sense. You know, just don't cut corners. Have great relationships with other realtors. I personally don't like the adversarial negotiation approach. I like the collaborative approach. Let's work together and create a good experience. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Keep them updated along the way as things are progressing in your subject removals. But you know, use a collaborative approach versus an antagonist approach where you're constantly on the defensive. You know, we all watch that show, $1 Million Listing or whatever. Well, you know, that's not the best way to get a negotiation where you're constantly putting doing a tug of war, right? So I think the key is just great relationships with everybody, with your clients. Try and exceed their expectations. Do the little things they wouldn't expect. Make them feel really good. Even if sometimes you have to get some humble pie and they're giving you some feedback that hurts, take it. Embrace it and try and learn from it and seek the lesson. That's something that I've really worked hard towards, and yeah, that's all.
Good.
Awesome.
Number 9, invest in people and believe in them and give them your all. You might make some bad hires along the way, but if you genuinely want the best for your people, they will help you develop the culture you need to succeed. Interesting. They will help you develop the culture you need to succeed. Don't take credit for your people. Don't take credit for your people's ideas. Create a culture where ideas are welcome and foster innovation. Nobody likes a dictator.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I work in the banking industry for 11 years. So, you know, you work within a box. Things are, you know, pretty much your ideas or get to stay with you, and they're not going to be implemented. Likely there's already a strategy from up top that gets passed down to you. So there isn't that innovative culture where you can foster new ideas. For me, I've always struggled with that because I am an out-of-the-box thinker, and I try and create that culture with my staff. I want them to come to me with ideas, and often I'll run with those ideas and give them a shot because, you know, at the end of the day, if I never gave them the opportunity to have one of their ideas tried, they're eventually going to stop providing ideas. And actually some of the successes that we've had are because of collaborative ideas that teams come up with. So I really create that culture. Investing in people, I mean, my brother-in-law made an investment in me. When I started the company, he took a risk and I made sure he was rewarded. One of my business partners, when he came in, I did the same thing. I made an investment to get him to be able to pay for his licensing and you know, come into the business where he had some stability. And I'm doing that for some of the people that I work with. And one of the things that everybody on my team has in common is we know what it's like to go through some hardship and grind. And, you know, I think that makes us stronger people and it makes us handle adversity much better. And those are the people I look for. I don't really want to build a business with soft people that have never really had adversity. You know, when you have that adversity, you have that hunger. And
Number 10, balance. I have not mastered this in any way, but I could see the importance of it. Create a culture that embraces some balance. Play the long game, not the short game.
Yeah. Look, I have 3 sons, and this is why I do this business. So I've built this business so that I can spend more time with them. However, building this business, you know, you become obsessed in your business and you become obsessed in hitting your goals. And it's not a 9 to 5. You know, there's often times where you're missing key events and things that are going on in your family life that, you know, make it challenging. And that's why, you know, I think some realtors make the money that they do. It's because they get to miss out on a lot of important events in life. So the whole team structure for me allows me to be able to block those times off. Jacky, my business partner, he's able to block times off with his family, and that gets respected by the whole team. So if time's blocked off in the calendar, you're not going to have appointments booked during that time. And so that's something that I implemented because I saw how unbalanced I was in the beginning. And I wanted to make sure that that wasn't something that was going to happen with my team. So we've got a calendar system that we all work with that works really, really well. And everybody knows to respect when the time is blocked off, that's time that's critical. And we treat it just like an appointment with a family member. We treat it just like an appointment with a client. It's the same.
Nice.
Number 11, marketing. Pick 2 to 3 things and become a master at those things. And earlier, for those just joining us, you have 3 lead generation sources: pay-per-click to your Real Geek site, referrals from vendors, a lot of them, right? And then social media, branding, video marketing, so people know who you are, right? Those are up in the comments if you want to learn more of those in the comments. So marketing, pick 2 to 3 things and become a master at those things. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Run them for at least 6 to 12 months to allow proper evaluation and effectiveness.
Yep. Jeff, how many people try something for a month or 2 months and they're like, oh, this doesn't work?
Hundreds, thousands.
Yeah,
right? I see them in the Facebook groups. I see them as customers and other fellow agents. I've seen it since 93 when I got in the real estate business. People will say, oh, they'll go to a seminar or a webinar or whatever, and they sit there and they study and they write all these things down and they go, that's it. This is the magic pill. I'm gonna do this, and this is gonna be it, and I'm gonna be a millionaire. They give it a week, 2 weeks, a month. They don't follow through with it. They're not consistent, like you said earlier, and then they declare it doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because they don't work. But I'm gonna let you share. That's my opinion on it.
No, I fully am 100% agreement with that. Look, at the end of the day, there's 10 to 20 million ways that you can build a business, right? In real estate, there's a lot of different business models and they all work. That's the key theme, is they all work, but you have to have a model that you start with. So my thought is, if you're a new agent or a newer agent or somebody that's working, pick 2 or 3 things that you can work towards mastery. That doesn't mean you're going to be a master from the beginning, but you're going to work towards that. I'm not a master of our lead sources, but I'm working towards that. I'm becoming a leader in those areas because that's what I focus on. And so you can slowly over time start adding other lead sources. But if you love doing open houses and you're good at them, we'll become the best in your market at open houses. Like, go and just do a phenomenal job with open houses and make that a big part of your lead generation. If you love doing mailers and that's your thing, then consistently do mailers. If you like farming, door knocking, whatever it is, just be a master at it. But don't have 10 million things. And I know some people will probably flame me for saying that, but shiny object syndrome is a real thing. You know, realtors are the most marketed to people in the world. You know, there's a million companies out there that are going to try to sell you stuff, and it's really easy to throw your money around. Pick 2 or 3 things and just really do them well, and don't cut corners and don't cheap out if you're going to do those 2 or 3 things. If you take anything away from today, simplify your business and then run with 2 or 3 things, and don't cheap out and do them properly.
Yeah, I would agree too, because us realtors as a bunch are looking for things that are easy to generate this business, and the next shiny object comes along, and usually if it's too good to be true, it is. It really is. I mean, you got to put in the work. I mean, if you're generating leads, you got to call those leads and follow up. You're not going to find this thing where you just pay $1,000 a month and it's going to generate leads that are just calling you to come list me. That just doesn't happen.
It's never that easy. I mean, we do a lot of online lead generation for listings, and I can tell you, it's a follow-up, it's a nurture process, it's a system, and you just got to trust it. And I can tell you that nobody's just like, yeah, can you come list my house? Doesn't work like that. You get the appointment, and then there's a whole process from there to gain the business. So if that's not something you're willing to do, is put in that hard work, then that may be a lead source that isn't for you. But I can tell you, there's no easy way to grow this other than making sure that you pick 2 or 3 things, make sure you have leads, and work them.
All right. Let's move on to 12. And then I love this new YouTube live chat. This is great. We'll answer questions. So feel free to ask some questions here, and we'll get to some questions here in the last 10 minutes right here on YouTube Live. I've been the one updating here, everyone, if you didn't notice that. Be a student of the game and embrace change. Number 12, be a student of the game and embrace change. Tell us about that.
So look, I'm learning all the time. I'm still learning to this day. I'm becoming better and better, and it's because I care and because I want to be better. And so always have that mindset that, look, this game is going to evolve. The way real estate's done today is not going to be the same in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and be able to adapt to that. Try to be ahead of trends, but always be learning. Invest in yourself. You're the most important asset that you have. That's why these hangouts are so great. I learn a lot from them. I watch every single one and I get a lot of value, even if it's just reminding me one little thing that I should be doing and implementing. I've met some incredible realtors who are doing some amazing things that I've never thought of that have helped me become a better realtor. So look for people that can balance you or that bring other ideas to the table and partner with them, collaborate. That's the best way to grow your game. And there's so many people doing it different ways that you can learn from. And I get, like, none of what I'm talking about is rocket science. None of it is stuff you haven't heard before, and that's on purpose. I don't think that it's a complicated business if you simplify it and you just focus on not being paralyzed in overthinking every decision. Make some decisions. You'll make mistakes. Who cares? Learn from them. And I guarantee you'll get much further if you try things than if you don't do anything. So my theme today is just take action on something. And I guarantee you I'm no smarter than anybody watching this. I was just willing to take the risk and go for it and put everything behind it and believed in my skills. Believe in your skills. Those skills don't go away. If you have a failure or a setback, remember, you always have your skills to fall back on. So there's nothing that's going to happen bad if you try something, even if it's considered a failure. It's only a minor setback if you seek it as a lesson.
I would agree. Execution, execution, execution. And if you're executing, you're building the muscle for the skills anyways, and you're going to get stronger and stronger.
I think you're the perfect definition of what Jim Rohn said. Success is something you attract by the person you become, which is basically what you were sharing there. Is like, even if it did all fail, think of all the skills and mindset and emotional intelligence you learned along the way that you could apply to something that will work.
Yeah. Right? How many of the most successful people in the world have had failures and setbacks? All of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they're successful.
Let's get to the questions here. Do you do any outbound, like FSBO Expire? I know you're in Canada. Do you do any outbound calling?
Well, see, in Canada, like in our market, FSBOs, you're not allowed to target FSBOs directly. So no, I don't do any outbound. Expireds, it's the same. Sorry, FSBOs you're allowed. Sorry, I meant expireds. Expireds, you're not allowed to actually go in our market. But FSBOs, certainly you can. And I've done some FSBO calls. I've certainly cold called some people to make deals happen. There's 3 deals last year that I cold called and made deals happen for clients. So absolutely, I will do that. But it's not something that I consistently do because I've done a really good job of generating a lot of leads that come in. And so for us, we're fortunate. We don't have a shortage of opportunities from all the lead generation things that we do, that we're very busy all the time. So we're pretty grateful to that.
Sure. So Frank here asks, are you working buyers because you implemented your online lead generation system? Is online lead generation bringing buyers more? I'll just assume, what's the breakdown of your online PPC spends? Mostly buyers disguised as sellers.
So
like,
for the first like 6 months, it was mostly buyer leads that I focused on. And then about 6 months ago now, we focused on seller lead generation too. So I'd say probably 60 to 70% of my ad spend goes towards buyer lead generation, and then the remainder goes to seller lead generation. We doubled. So people are probably wondering, how much do you spend per day? I probably spend about $60 to $70 per day on lead generation online. So
at this point,
I didn't start off there. No, I started off at 30, but that's where I'm at now. And here's a quick tip too. If you're new to the game and you don't have money to get started with lead generation, find somebody in your office who has a bunch of internet leads that they're not working or don't have time for. Work out a split with them and just start calling those leads. That's what I did when I started. As my thing was ramping up, I found an agent that I knew had a ton of leads, was doing nothing with them. And I went and made a bunch of sales from those. Yeah, I had to pay a percentage of those to that agent, but it helped me get going. And that's something you can do if you're just haven't ramped up your lead generation yet. There's people out there that literally are sitting on tons of leads that are doing nothing with, that you can get going on. The key is having people to call consistently and talking to.
Ryan May asks, Jason, what is your online lead follow-up protocols?
So our goal is that you're going to get a call within 5 minutes or less. You're going to get a text message immediately as soon as you sign up through our website. We're going to follow up with you until we get a hold of you. We make sure that obviously the information that we have is good. and there is a percentage of internet leads that are not good leads, just so you know, as far as like the information. You're going to get a bad phone number, bad email address. But I've trained my team, if it's got one good piece of information, try and follow up with it.
Oh, David Johnson asked the same question here. Go through your typical lead process, but also closing process. Is there anything out of the ordinary that you could recommend as far as when you get a signed contract when it comes to listing and the closing process that people can know about to streamline their operations better?
Yeah, well, when it comes to a listing, so once I get the listing and the paperwork, it goes over to Paige, our listing coordinator. Her job is to then schedule photographers, videographers. We do, we actually pay professional cleaners to come in and clean our clients' homes before we list it. If needed, we'll use staging services to help set up the home in the best light. And so Paige, my assistant, she'll basically take care of all of that. And then what I do is I manage the relationship with the client. So when I'm not away, I'll manage, showing requests, and I'll manage the strategy. And the nice thing is I actually go through a strategy with every client before we list the property. I explain the strategy and why I recommend pricing where we did, and I educate them on the market so that they understand why we're doing everything that we're doing. So there's no secret. So I don't cut corners on listings, and that is a good lead generation tool. If you do a very good job of prepping your listings, doing things very professionally, using your social media, having your key different things that you do, you'll actually generate leads from your listings. That's probably one of the best lead generation tools that exist in real estate. Jeff, you probably agree to that, is your listings. So don't cut corners. Don't go in and take your own photos. Why would you do that? We're lucky we have good margins in our business that we can afford to pay for proper marketing services. And that's a reflection of your brand. So for me, I'm looking to be a leader when it comes to listings, not somebody that's, just cheaping out, focusing on the pennies and losing out on the dollars. Because if you do a very good, well-executed listing, you'll generate some leads from it.
Great. Got so many good questions. I got to get Greg Harrelson in here from the Harrelson Group. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
How does he track his buyer's agents to assure good conversion rates? Well, how many leads is he getting per month? I see all these analytical questions. I love it.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like the least analytical person in the world. So I know I frustrate analytical people. And I wish my brain worked like that, but it just doesn't. Look, I just see the deals put on, like my buyer's agent, Jacky, the amount of deals that he's done in his first 6 months as an agent. I think he's almost at 40, maybe just over 40 now. I know that he's doing a great job because I can see the appointments that are being booked, and I know our processes that we've discussed. I mean, we don't get in a car with anybody if they're not pre-approved. Even if they're like, I want to see this house tonight, right this minute, we don't jump in the car and do that. You have to go through our process. Our process is how we control the outcome, because one of the things we don't want to ever be is the agent that just throws deals at the wall and hopes that it sticks. And what I learned early on is when a client controls everything, they're less likely to be loyal, and they're less likely to actually buy with you. So if you're just jumping as soon as they say, I want to see something, it doesn't always work that way. You need to make sure you've established that rapport first, that you've got them pre-approved and they're a solid client. Then that makes more sense. But if your first appointment is jumping in the car, don't do it. I know I'm not answering your question, Greg. I don't have set conversion numbers, and these are things that I will probably have to develop over time. But I just know when I was managing and banking even for 7 years, I always had the idea, okay, let's put these tracking measures in spreadsheets, but they never lasted. And because it just doesn't suit my personality for me to spend that time tracking. I could be spending that time making contacts, and I know that's terrible. So
maybe this will help better answer the question. So what is the procedure that they do through, Jacky, or what is the procedures and what are they expected to do and when and how?
Okay,
so maybe that'll help answer it better instead of like exact numbers, but that'll help. I think he's trying to figure out like how are you able to get these guys so effective?
Sure. Okay, well, we don't focus on volume of appointments as we do quality. We really put a lot of focus on the quality. So when our people are nurturing the leads, what are their timelines? If they're looking to buy in 12 months from now, sure, we're happy to set up a buyer's consultation with them, and we'll do that. But really, is it a bit early to jump in the car with them? Yeah, probably. If they're looking to buy in the next 6 months or less, well, that may be somebody that we can convert sooner. So finding out their motivation level, that's something our team will always ask. What is their motivation levels? Do they have a home they'll need to sell first? When are they planning to make this move? Why are they making this move? Like, get deep with your prospect, and then ask them a question like, have you had a chance to find out exactly what you qualify for so that we don't get you overly excited about a property that we don't even know can happen for you. And so then it's about making sure that we get them pre-approved and pre-qualified prior to us going out and getting that first appointment. Because we're constantly digging deeper below the surface and asking the why questions, it's made a huge difference.
Great. So, yeah, man, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much. Greg Harrelson, by the way, says he likes the views better in Hawaii, Jeff.
I'm sure everybody
For those
does.
of you who don't know, Jeff's in Dallas now in his new house in his man cave.
I'm in my new man cave, our guest room. If you want to come to Dallas, I painted it powder blue, and I got a view of my pool. At least I do have a water view, but you guys don't have the water view. But I still have my Hawaii house, and I'll be going back and forth running the Dallas office and the Hawaii office. So we'll try to squeeze a few of the ones from Hawaii. But yeah, I'm also we're expanding into Dallas, and we're building a team to bring better service to our customers, and more services, more training. So that's our goal this year with Real Geeks, is to bring as much value and even more value than we've been bringing, and love and care. But I want to thank Jason for coming on. He is phenomenal. He's like a special guy. He really gets it. And for a young guy, he's kicking butt and taking names. And I'm really impressed with them, and I'm really thankful to have him as a friend and a customer, and also as a guest to come on here and share with so many people, because so many people did that with me when I was starting out, and I really appreciate that he actually gets that, and he's big on the collaboration. And you just don't know how many people you're going to help, Jason, but you are, and thank you so much from the bottom of mine and Frank's hearts. We really appreciate it.
It's thank you. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to come on. And again, I apologize to anybody that is looking for like all this detail, but the key thing is just take action, try something, and learn every time you do something. That's what I'm hoping people get out of this. Just get out of your own way. And
what I'm going to do here, for those of you still watching this on this YouTube live chat, I'm really digging. It's brand new for us. It's the first time on YouTube Live. I'm going to send you the link here. If you want to go back to some of the questions we couldn't answer, I think you could probably just go on there and answer them right on the actual video.
Here's another thing too, because some of you probably know too, last year I did 3 Keeping It Real on locations, took a videographer, went to different locations. We're going to try and do one in April with Greg Harrelson, but we're going to, Jason's on my list. So maybe in the fall or something. I think he's getting married or something, but we'll work around that. And sometime probably in the fall, we're going to go out and visit and hang out 3 days with Jason, and we'll get into the weeds. We'll get into the details, and he'll have his systems even more perfected. And so hopefully we can do that, and we'll do it on location. Frank and I have a commitment of try to get 2 of these a month. 2 of these a month. We got some great guests lined up. The next one is in February. I think it's the 16th. I'm not sure. But we have a guy, Don. One of our customers is dominating Facebook. He is creating amazing leads. He's getting listings from Facebook, and it's going to be how to dominate Facebook marketing. So anyway, I want to thank you guys, and we look forward to the next one. And we hope that 2017 is the best year ever for you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye now.